Hello there. I'm Sandra Louise, and this is my first video that I'm doing with my platforms since forming Life After the Comma. And I felt like I had to get on here and do this. I've been told that I needed to. And this is my first attempt to do that. And so, for those of you who are new to knowing who I am a creator, I am a journalist, I am a speaker, I am a transformational person who is ever learning and is a student of life. And I wanted to jump on here really quick to kind of set up what Life After the Comma is all about. I recently grew through a divorce of after 30 years of marriage back in August of last year. And all of my children are grown. I have grandbabies. I had pretty much been with that person for over half of my life. And it was not an easy decision, although there were situations and things that would have warranted leaving a lot earlier. However, I have come to learn some lessons, and some of them I want to share with you today, because I know that there are people out there who will watch this who are in the same situation that I was in, who may be going through the things that I'm going through now. As anyone who's ever gone through a divorce knows, that it doesn't just end when the divorce is done, but that there is a process. And I have found that I'm not for everybody. I'm not sent to everybody. But I am responsible to share my story with the ones that I am sent to. And the only way that I'm going to do that is to be obedient and use every platform that is available to me. So, with that being said, I had kind of struggled with whether or not to share my story. And although I'm not going to get all into that today, one of the things that I've come to know is that our stories are not for us to keep. Our stories are for us to share. And what I mean by that is what I stated earlier. There's someone who's going through what you have gone through and overcome. And they need to see that there is life on the other side of that comma. What do I mean by comma? In our lives, there are many commas that we come to. I was married, comma, I was divorced. I was divorced, comma, and then what comes after that? I lost my job after 30 years, comma. What comes after that? What comes after that is decided by you, nobody else. As long as we put the responsibility of where we are in life in someone else's hands, we never have a responsibility to change. And I learned that as I was going through the process of growing through the divorce. And then since after, many lessons I've learned and am learning. I don't come on here pretending to know everything and pretending to have everything together and pretending that I know all about everything pertaining to what I've gone through. No, I'm still learning. And I'm okay with that. I've come to the point where I'm okay even when I mess up. If I make a mistake, I'm not beating myself up over it. But I'm doing my best. And with that being said, one of the things that I had to learn early in sharing my story is I did not want to share my story and be authentic with it, and at the same time demonize the person that I was married to. I came to understand that hurting people really do hurt other people. That people cannot give you what they don't have. And sometimes, the very thing that they may be doing could be the very thing, and what I've come to find out is many times the thing that God is using to fulfill the purpose that He has for your life. Sometimes we're not going to do the things that we need to do because we are endeared to a person. We're so, how can I say, committed. So, we've just given ourselves fully to something, even when all the signs are saying it's time to go. And for me, that was it. And sometimes as I look back, as they say, hindsight is 20/20. When I look back over the things that transpired, especially over the latter years of our marriage, I see it in a way that God knew what it was going to take for me to finally say, this is it. I'm done. And I liken it to when God told Moses to go tell Pharaoh to let my people go. And he went on to say that he had hardened Pharaoh's heart, that he wasn't going to do it. And that messed me up for a while. That messed me up because I'm like, okay, God, why would you tell him to go tell him to let your people go, but then you're going to harden his heart so that he don't do it? I didn't get it. It didn't make sense to me. And the way, and I'm not a Bible scholar, I'm not a theologian, I'm none of those things. All I can tell you is the revelation that I got of it was that God knows the bend of every individual's heart. And what do I mean by that? He knows the things that we are prone to do, the direction that we're prone to go in. And by him being omniscient, knowing everything, he already knows where a person's heart is. He already knows what decisions they're going to make. But for his people, many times, because he's about getting things done for you, for me, we have a purpose. We have things that we have to fulfill. And so what God will do is, if a person is prone to be a certain way, God will nudge them even further into that way, to the point where they're acting out what they would automatically do anyway, but now it's on another level, because God is about getting his will done in this earth and getting the thing that he created you for done. And he knows that if you stay in that situation, you're not going to do what he told you to do. So he will move on the heart of the person who is already going in a certain direction. And that direction is is drawing you away from the purpose that he has for you. He will nudge them even further. It's almost like what we call a reprobated mind. A person can, and it's not that God is not giving them a chance, but God's will never override a person's choice. That's his love, that his will never override our choice. So he'll give us, it's his mercy, that he'll give us opportunity after opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to get it right, to come back to him. If we get off course, he'll keep giving us opportunities to get it right. He'll keep giving us opportunities. But if we choose to keep going in the direction we're going, he'll just let us go that way. And when it comes to his people, his anointed ones, his chosen ones, if he knows that they are so committed to you that they will hold on to the very end, then in order for him to get his purpose done in their lives and through them, he'll go ahead and let you go in the direction that you're going. Because we already know the wages of sin is death. He has given us the choice every day. He said, I put before you today life and death. Choose life. The choice is yours. And so what I found is that many times when a person has unresolved issues within themselves and they're seeking peace, they're seeking fulfillment in everything other than God, and that person is connected to you, God will deal with them, because that's his mercy and his grace. He'll deal with them, but he will not let their choices stop the purpose that he has for your life. That's why Romans 8:28 is so important. And we know that all things work together for the good for those who love God and who are the called according to his purpose. So that was one thing. And I am not going to get through all of these that I have today, but hurting people hurt people. And so the other thing I had to learn about that, and none of these things happen like right away. None of these things happen right away. I still deal with a lot of these things because I found out that the next one, which is one of the hardest ones that we deal with, and we've heard it being taught so many different ways, and sometimes I think we do it an injustice, because if a person is struggling in that area, it doesn't mean that they haven't done it, but they're still dealing with the residue of whatever they went through, whether it was inflicted upon them or if they inflicted upon somebody else. And that's forgiveness. You've probably heard forgiveness is like taking poison, and unforgiveness is like taking poison and expecting the other person to die. And I couldn't agree with that more. However, one of the things that I have learned in all of this, in forgiving, I understand that God says, forgive as I have forgiven you. That if you don't forgive someone else, that the Father in heaven will not forgive you. I understand that. I promise you, I understand that. But one of the things that I have found, because I know within my heart of hearts that I have forgiven, I know that I have. There was a time where I had forgiven and I found out that I really hadn't forgiven. But then there came a point where God kind of took me on a little journey. And this latest happened just a few days ago, where I was watching something having to do with relationships. And it triggered all of the painful memories that I had experienced in my marriage. And all of the trauma that I had experienced on different levels and at different times. And it was like, when you relive those things, your body doesn't know that it's not happening again. Your mind doesn't know that it's not happening all over again. And so those feelings, those emotions, those things, they come back up again. And I'm bawling. I'm literally sitting there bawling. And Holy Spirit spoke to me and he said, I'm not having you remember these different incidents so that you can experience the pain all over again. He said, I'm having you remember what you went through so that when I elevate you to the place, when I give you that person that I have for you, that I handpick for you, it's going to be such a blessing and it's going to be so glorious to you that you'll be able to remember those incidents and not experience the pain. That's the glory. That's what God wants to do in every individual. And so when we forgive, we are releasing that person, because the whole thing is, people, again, it goes back to what I said before. Hurting people hurt other people, and they cannot give you what they don't have.